From the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, connecting Carolina's campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Good morning and welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Devontae Anthony.
And I'm Kirsten Clark. Thanks for joining us. An update to the Faith Hedgepeth murder case. The Durham County District Attorney's Office has announced that they will not seek the death penalty against the man accused of killing her. 28-year-old Miguel Enrique Salguero Olivares will be prosecuted as a non-capital case. Police arrested him on September 16th and charged him with first-degree murder. Hedgepeth was a 19-year-old UNC student when she was murdered in her apartment in 2012. Her case remained unsolved for nearly a decade until investigators matched DNA from the scene with the suspect. District Attorney Satana DeBerry has not said why she isn't seeking the death penalty in this case, but in her election campaign, she did make clear she was against capital punishment. Salguero Olivares remains in the Durham County Jail without bond. He's scheduled to return to court next month.
We've experienced a lot in the past year. Besides the pandemic, we've been through a contentious presidential campaign and nationwide protests over racial injustice. All of it highlights the importance of the First Amendment. Today, UNC faculty and students are coming together to celebrate First Amendment Day. Reporter Claire Galt joins us live near Davis with more on this long-standing tradition.
This is the 12th year that we've had First Amendment Day on campus. And the idea behind it is to celebrate the First Amendment and the freedom that it gives to Carolina students to express themselves. This also means that even though we might not always agree with one another, we have to learn to be tolerant when everyone is expressing their rights. This also happens to be National Banned Books Week. Every year on First Amendment Day, UNC professors read from a list of books that have been banned from schools and libraries. And this will happen right here a little later today, right at Davis Library. You can find all of this information and more at firstamendmentday.unc.edu. Reporting live in Chapel Hill, Claire Galt, Carolina Week.
With COVID vaccines getting so much attention, you might have forgotten about another important shot, the flu vaccine. Reporter Maggie Cottle has more about how UNC is gearing up for flu season.
UNC Campus Health offers flu vaccines to students each year at the student stores. Campus Health Director of Pharmacy and Professional Services, Amy Sauls, says so far the turnout's been great.
We've been very pleased with how our Tar Heels have responded to the call to vaccinate for both COVID and for flu. So compared to previous years for flu vaccine, I think we're right on track to give just as many, if not more.
Experts say flu shots are even more important than usual this year. With the ongoing pandemic, the flu presents a bigger threat. Michelle Camarena, Director of Nursing at Campus Health, says it is possible to get a co-infection with both flu and COVID-19.
The flu vaccine is the best way out there to prevent the flu and to minimize serious illness and to prevent hospitalizations. And it's the same for COVID vaccine, right? The best things we've got, the best tools we have in the public health world are vaccination.
Students don't need an appointment to get the flu shot at the student store's pharmacy. August graduate Sierra Plumley says this convenience is why she got hers every year.
It was way more accessible for me, and I think it's way more accessible for people who can't get off campus. So that's why I started doing it my first year. And then it was just really easy, so I kept doing it there.
Cases of the flu typically pick up in October and last through the spring, so experts say now is the best time to get protected. In Chapel Hill, Maggie Cottle, Carolina Week.
If you're looking to get your flu shot here on campus, the Student Store's Pharmacy is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday from 11 to 3. All you need to bring is your insurance card.
A group of UNC students is continuing to rally for a vaccine mandate on campus. Earlier this month, the group Vaccinate UNC Now organized a march to urge UNC's administration to change its COVID policy. The students set a deadline of September 20th for the university to require student vaccinations. The university did not respond. Last week, the group began a letter and email to campaign administrators. As of today, the university has not made any changes to its vaccination policy.
September is Suicide Awareness Month, and recent studies have shown that during the pandemic, young people have had higher rates of suicidal thoughts, depression, and anxiety. As reporter Emery Summy shows us, there's a place Carolina students can go if they have any of these feelings.
The pandemic has taken an emotional toll on many students, and UNC has a place you can go for help. Counseling and Psychological Services, also known as CAPS, is located on the third floor of Campus Health in the James A. Taylor Building. CAPS is staffed with more than 30 employees, including clinical social workers, psychologists, and psychiatrists. Since the pandemic started, there has been an increase from 36.4% to 41.5% of symptoms relating to anxiety or depression in young adults ages 18 to 29, and an increase from 9.2% to 11.7% of unmet mental health care needs. CAPS offers a range of services such as group therapy, individual therapy, and academic intervention. Some students say having a place on campus dedicated to mental health is very reassuring.
The whole idea of having CAPS in my school made me think about how to take care of my mental health. And I think if we didn't have CAPS, I wouldn't have even thought to go out and like seek help regardless of my experience that I had there.
I really liked my therapist because I feel like she approached my situation from a very spiritual perspective, and I feel like I'm a spiritual person, and I feel like she understood like the kind of help that I needed.
And for those who can't make it to CAPS in person or have an after hours issue, there's a 24/7 hotline, so help is always there when you need it. In Chapel Hill, Emery Summy, Carolina Week.
After reports earlier this month, UNC is taking steps to fight anti-Semitism on campus. Carolina is joining the Hillel International's Campus Climate Initiative following accusations of anti-Semitic faculty on campus, as well as the campus Y being vandalized earlier in the year with anti-Semitic symbols. An advisory committee will educate UNC leaders on how to better facilitate a positive, inclusive environment for Jewish students. UNC is one of 25 universities participating in the initiative. Chancellor Kevin Guskiewicz wrote a statement, anti-Semitism has no place on our campus, and that UNC will be holding sessions next semester for the community to discuss concerns regarding religious harassment.
From being a UNC graduate to an opera singer to a professor and administrator, Dean Terry Rhodes has impacted many, but she'll soon be saying goodbye. Reporter Kennedy Bird spoke to her about her 34 years at Carolina and the legacy she'll leave behind.
Timothy Sparks says it was his professor, Dr. Terry Rhodes' musical ability that inspired him in 1987. Professor, and once Rhodes became his colleague, he was even more inspired by her leadership ability.
She has a great ability to disarm and really get to the crux of the issue that one's trying in their own way to achieve.
After graduating with a bachelor's in music and traveling the world for her career, Rhodes found herself back in Chapel Hill as a visiting professor, and later the Associate Dean for Fine Arts and Humanities. Then she would rise even higher.
I was kind of at the right place at the right time, and I had this network of people who knew my work and were interested in, because I had done a lot of international singing and performing and writing, and that helped, that they wanted me as a visiting person. And then they asked me to stay on another year, and then there was a national search, and I got the job through the national search, and then kind of the rest is history.
UNC named Rhodes interim dean of the College of Arts and Sciences in 2019 and took the official role in March of 2020. One of her biggest initiatives has been improving the curriculum.
The official launch will be in the fall of 2022 when I will have stepped back, but I think this launching of our new general education curriculum is extremely exciting. And we started that back when, but I've been a part of it all along here in the Dean's leadership teams.
Improving diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts has also been a priority.
It was a group of people who wanted to champion some of the same goals. For example, we increased diversity hiring and diversity in the curriculum, and those were very important goals for me.
Rhodes will be retiring at the end of the school year. The chancellor says the search for a new dean will begin soon. In Chapel Hill, Kennedy Bird, Carolina Week.
After a year off due to COVID, Carolina Family Weekend is back. Carolina students and their families will be participating in activities and programs starting this Friday and running through Sunday. Families can meet with the chancellor, enjoy a grab-and-go game day lunch, and participate in the Kilometers for the Kids 1 Mile Fun Run and 5K. Parents will also get the chance to sit with their students at the Carolina Duke football game. Organizers say all ticketed events have already sold out, but families can still take part in the non-ticketed events on a first-come, first-served basis. You can visit families.unc.edu for the full schedule. And Kirsten, I'm so excited for the game this weekend. How about you?
Devontae, I'm super excited also. And
Yeah.
here to give us the latest on Carolina sports and more on this weekend's matchup is sports reporter Zach Engler. Zach?
Thanks, Kirsten. It's Duke weekend, and I just got my ticket. The Tar Heels face off against the Blue Devils for their earliest kickoff of the season at noon on Saturday. If you were lucky enough to get a ticket, head to the student store and get your Beat Duke t-shirts today. And while you're there, check out the men's golf merch because they just took the #1 spot in the NCAA rankings. After winning the first 2 tournaments of the season, the UNC men's golf team took the #1 spot this week in the Golf Week rankings. The Tar Heels have wins against 9 of the teams in the current top 25, with signature wins against #4 Arizona State and in-state rival #8 NC State. The Tar Heels' next tournament is Monday through Wednesday at the Blessings Collegiate Invitational in Arkansas. The UNC men's cross-country team is looking great going into the 4th meet of the season. The men's cross-country team will travel to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania to compete in the Paul Short Run at Lehigh University on Friday morning. Freshman Parker Wolf led Carolina to victory in the Heels' most recent meet and earned himself ACC Freshman of the Week honors. The Tar Heels have won first place in all 3 meets they've competed in this season and look to continue the streak this weekend. The men's soccer team heads to the coast tonight as the Heels face UNC Wilmington at 7. Carolina is coming off a win against Virginia and will look to improve the record against the 5-3 Seahawks. After being ranked 4th in the preseason coaches poll, a pair of early season losses, including a home heartbreaker against Duke, have knocked Carolina out of the top 25 entirely. UNC will undoubtedly look to scoring leaders Cameron Fisher and Ernest Bawa to keep the Heels in the win column and push them back into the top 25. The UNC women's soccer team is coming off a huge win over Clemson this weekend. Our Joshua Dolgoff sat down with the captain of the team to get the inside scoop on their success.
Most senior captains are always on the field, but forward Rachel Jones has made the adjustment of having fewer minutes to give her younger teammates more on-field experience.
We always preach to everybody to accept your role and do it to the best of your ability because you never know when your name's going to be called again, and I knew that I just had to be a really good example to everybody else.
Jones has shown that playing time isn't everything, and her value to the team is just as important off the field as it is on.
When I was having less minutes, I was making sure that I was even more vocal on the side, making sure that my pregame talks are even better, setting the foundation for them for what a good teammate is, and I think that's really important for what my role as captain is this year.
Jones's leadership was on full display after their tough loss to Duke, making sure her team didn't get too down after a hard-fought game.
I had to make sure that I really just kept my own emotions aside and made sure that I encouraged the team and made sure that, that we actually played really well. We just didn't capitalize on our chances.
As shown recently by a dominating 3-0 win against Clemson, Jones has seen tremendous growth from her team that she knows will continue the rest of the season.
Our freshmen especially are getting more comfortable. Our chemistry as a team grows every single game, and I think that's what will serve us best in the long run, just everybody being unselfish and wanting the best for the team no matter what that means.
Fans hope Jones's leadership will lead Carolina to its first national championship in 9 years. I'm Joshua Dolgoff reporting.
A natty championship sounds good to me, and I know Anson Dorrance is itching to get another one of these under his belt. That's all for sports. Tune in to Sports Extra on Friday for a weekend preview of Carolina athletics. Kirsten, Devontae.
Thanks, Zach. About 60% of foster children in North Carolina have the opportunity to reunify with their biological parents. In the case of Janira Cho, she spent 7 months aiding in the reunification process of her 2 foster children. Julian Berger has her story.
In just one unexpected phone call, Janira Cho was told she needed to get home to await a new addition to her family.
I was at work and they told me that 2 little girls were going to be put into care, and then they basically just bring them here, drop them off with whatever belongings they had, and then it's up to me to take over from there.
Cho and her husband Charles prepared for a year to make sure everything was in order at their house to welcome children, but the girls' stay was short.
foster care is really meant to be a temporary solution so that families can get stable and get the resources and support that they need, and then kids can safely return home.
Within the span of 7 months, Cho would bring her two foster girls to fast food restaurant Culver's to begin the process of reunifying them with their biological mother, later allowing them to spend weekends with her. But when the weekend was over, they needed to return home to Cho.
They wanted to stay with their mom. So that was really hard. I get teared up because it reminds me of like them crying and throwing a tantrum for their mom all the way back to my house.
Becky Santoro, the co-founder of Foster Village Charlotte, an organization helping foster children and foster parents, says about 60% of foster children have the opportunity to reunify with their parents, but sometimes reunification isn't the best solution.
Sometimes kids go back home, they reunify, and unfortunately the same, things that families were struggling with pops up again when something new happens or the stress of the family goes higher. And then sometimes those kids come back into foster care. So that's what we don't want to happen.
Santoro says reunification should be a stress-free approach in which foster children have a gradual return to living with their biological parents.
So I think we have a lot of work to do as humans in this system to really be prioritizing the wellness of families and not the checklist. Okay, you do that. Okay, kids go home, without really helping parents to be successful when the next crisis comes.
Some of that work is being done. Earlier this month, Governor Roy Cooper signed a law allowing for foster parents to have more of a say in their foster children's lives.
I think that basically we become part of their like an extended family or an extended support for the mom. So I'm glad that they're with her because I realized that you know how they say like blood is thicker than water. There's something about you being with your mom that's really important.
And even after the reunification process, foster parents like Cho still make an impact in their former foster children's lives. Reporting for Carolina Week, I'm Julian Berger.
Wow, Devontae, what a beautiful and heartwarming story. And I'm just so glad more kids are now reunited with their biological family.
Absolutely, Kirsten. And with Family Weekend coming up, I can't think of a better way to end this edition of Carolina Week. We will see you next Wednesday.
Have a great week and a happy family weekend.